Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and this week's review. Well, I'm looking at a golf club that I've actually wanted to try for the channel for ages, but I haven't done so because for me, it hasn't really screamed bargain. However, that could be about to change. And the club I'm talking about is this. It's the Callaway Apex Utility Wood from 2023. They actually call it the Callaway Apex Utility Wood 24, even though it's released in 2023. But anyway, let's move on from that very quickly. And the reason why this might be dropping in price is because the brand new one is just about to be released. You can actually pre-order it right now, which means one thing, this price is going to drop not only on the second-hand market, where people are obviously going to be getting rid of it to basically upgrade to the new one, but also in stores as they try and get rid of that older stock to bring in the new one. So it's a perfect time to potentially be trying one of these clubs out. So that's why I picked it up. And also I wanted to give it a go as well because it's a utility wood. It's quite a niche little club. You know, I've got my hybrid here. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger than my QI10 hybrid. And if I get my fairway wood out, my 3-wood, it's smaller than my 3-wood. Even though this is a plus, it's a little bit bigger than a normal 3-wood, you can still see the size difference there. Because basically what this is a club that's in the middle. So basically if you don't like fairway woods, they're too big for you or something like this, you've got this option here, which is a little bit bigger than a hybrid. However, unlike your sort of oversized hybrids that you can get, which are aimed at your sort of very high handicappers, maybe slower swing speed, you know, things that ultimate forgiveness is get it up in the air and get it on the fairway. This, don't get me wrong, has plenty of forgiveness and plenty of distance, but it's also aimed for the better players to be really consistent, still be able to shot shape like you would with a hybrid, but get that launch that you sort of would maybe with a fairway, with a 5-wood, etc. So this is definitely something that's aimed for the masses rather than sort of just your beginner golfers where their normal oversized hybrid is. So that's why I'm really excited to try it, because potentially for me, maybe, you know, I could find a space for this in my bag. Maybe it replaced my 3 hybrid. So I'm really looking forward to testing this out. Now, as always, what we're going to do is we're going to have a closer look at this club, and then we're going to come back here, go through all the technologies in it, then get down to the range, show you some shots and throw some figures at you, and then we're going to come back here for the ACS Golf scale, my overall thoughts about it, and if I think it's a good idea for you guys to go and try and potentially put in your bag. One thing I will mention before we have a closer look at this, I am testing this. So if you've watched my videos before, obviously ACS Golf Scale, I have categories each time I do a review, driver, fairway wood, hybrids, etc. I am categorizing this in the hybrid section, hybrid and driving iron section, just because of the size of it. It's definitely in my mind not a fairway wood, it's just really more of an oversized hybrid. Some of you guys watching this might disagree with me, but for me that's the category that I'm going to be sticking in. So there you go. All right, without further ado, let's have a closer look at this club. So there you go, and it is a good looking thing. It looks really smart. I love the bottom of it. It looks modern. Head cover's great. And one thing you can tell straight off the bat, the fact that this is a better players club, there's no alignment aid on it. You know, tour players don't like seeing that. So this is, you know, this has been inspired by tour players, the Callaway's tour players out there. So you don't have that alignment aid. Doesn't mean we can't use it, but I'm just saying you can tell that it's definitely been tour inspired. Now let's go through all the technology that is in this club. So reading off Callaway's website, so high launch, consistent control and tighter dispersion. The center of gravity is precisely positioned in a neutral location. There you go, right there. For exceptional combination of high launch, steeper landing angles, consistent spin characteristics, and reduced draw bias. That's another thing that's very different between this and your sort of oversized hybrids. Your normal oversized hybrids is going to be big draw bias clubs. This is really neutral, which I really like, to be fair, especially for me with my stance, my dodgy swing. You know, I tend to always hit a draw with it because that's the way I get more power. But so having a club like this which is neutral works really well for the likes of me. The Apex UW is an excellent option for better players looking for more playable hybrid or fairway wood. So it's that idea again, isn't it? You know, it's that playable hybrid. Continuing, I just realised I read the last slide for them, not the first. But anyway, let's keep on going. Tour-inspired, compact, workable shape and optimised length. The distinct club head shaping is inspired by in-depth feedback from tour pros, as I mentioned before. They required a compact profile to enhance shot shaping and improve control. Club lengths are set between a fairwood and a hybrid, allowing for versatile playability while still being easy to hit. They are just about nowhere near the length of my 3-wood, and as you can just about see there, it is a little bit longer than my 3 hybrid. So it is a little bit longer. Same degrees as my 3 hybrid, by the way, 19. So there you go. So the idea of this is to give you the versatility you need, you know, the shot shaping, control and everything like that, but making it easy to hit. Because, you know, tour players need things that are easy to hit as well, you know. A lot of tour players nowadays use more forgiving clubs because they can get nowadays the forgiveness in these clubs, but still get the same workability that they needed. They don't have to go and play a blade anymore, for example, with irons anyway. Fast ball speed from Batwing technology and an AI designed C300 face cut. So they've got an AI designed Batwing structure to push, which is pushed to the perimeter to stiffen the body, allowing the high strength C300 margining steel face cup to flex for faster ball speed. So you sort of got like this Batwing inside the club here, sort of probably around there. It sort of just helps that face, you know, flex and give you that faster ball speed, which you can't complain about. You've also got this, as you can see there, enhanced turf interaction from Cutwave Pro Sole. So a lot of these sort of turf interactions, which is exactly, you know, you're thinking about, if you're a tour player, you're thinking about turf interaction because you're going to be, you know, hitting the club on the, you know, the bottom of the turf. You know, you want it to glide through, you want it to be able to get through the rough and everything with these clubs without them getting stuck in it. So you've got the Apex UW is designed for versatile shot making, and all new Cutwave Pro Sole is a streamlined design engineered specifically to cut through turf more efficiently. There you go. Again, what they're saying there, for versatility. So versatile shot making. Got that word wrong. There you go. So versatile shot making, you know, this is a versatile club. You know, the whole point of it is to be able to do exactly the shots that you want to do. So there you go. Now, product specs, you could get this from basically, you could say a 2 hybrid up to a 4 hybrid. So 17 degrees, except they don't call it that. So you've got 17 degrees. Do they call it that? No, they don't. Even on the cover over there, it just says 19 degrees. It doesn't say 3 or 2 or whatever. But anyway, so you can have a 17 degree one, you have a 19 degree one and a 21 degree one, but you can only get that in right hand only. The 17 and the 19 you could get in left hand. And as standard, you'd have this Mitsubishi shaft that I've got in here. I can't remember the name of the shaft. It's, what is it? 70 Stiff S. It just says Mitsubishi on it. Must have a type of shaft on it. It says Type 304SS. Metal mesh technology. Yeah, there you go. There's a picture of the shaft. Not many of these things have names. I'm pretty sure this does have a name. I can't remember off the top of my head, so I do apologise for that. But you've got 3 types of shaft. You've got regular stiff and extra stiff as well. That's just the stock. Obviously, if you're going to get fitted, it'll be something else. One thing I will mention as well, you cannot adjust this. I don't know if the new one you can adjust. I've seen photos of it, which look really good. I don't know if you can adjust it though. But there you go. Okay, so there's all the technology that's in this club. Obviously, as I mentioned, you know, it's all about shot shaping. That's exactly what they're calling this club, and that exactly is what it's for, but also with forgiveness as well, and obviously distance. All right, now without further ado, let's get down to the range. Going to throw some figures at you, and then we'll come back here for the ACS Golf Scale. All right, see you in a bit. I'm down at the range with the Callaway Apex 24 Utility Wood. Now, first things first with this club, feel-wise. Feels great, looks really nice behind the ball. Would have done with an alignment aid, as I mentioned before. Sounds really solid, powerful. You know, it's a joy to hit. It's fun, which is great. When it comes down to sort of the numbers, so on average I had a carry of 190 yards, total distance 213 yards, ball speed 138 miles per hour, launch angle 9 and height 56 feet. Into wind, so not that bad at all considering conditions on the day. However, normal 3 hybrids around 215 for me, maybe a bit more, so maybe a little bit short on that, but we'll discuss the figures in real depth later on in this video. One thing I'll say as well about it, it's very consistent, even on really bad hits. Yes, all right, the lowest on the day was only 201 yards, but that was a really poor hit and relatively had the same ball flight as the other shots and would have found me on the fairway. So that's the thing, it was consistent, and when it was consistent, around the middle of the face, it gave me consistent numbers around that 220 mark, just below. So really that 213 probably should have been a little bit higher, to be honest, but I did have a few short ones. As I mentioned, there you go, 188 total yards carry, 201 yards total distance, because I was swinging really horrendously on the day, so that definitely did bring the results down. But longest 207 yards carry, 226 yards total distance, ball speed 137 miles per hour, launch angle 14 degrees. When I was striking it well and having it above that 10 degrees, it worked really well. So there you go, and not bad results at all, into a bit of a breeze into my face. Well, into my face and a little bit right to left as well, which is definitely not the type of wind I need when I tend to draw the ball or hook it, depending on how I'm feeling. But yeah, 190 on average carry and 213 yards total distance, ball speed 138 miles per hour, which is about what I'd expect my hybrid or a club like this 3 hybrid to be. However, it's not really the total tale there, because I've kept in some horrendous shots, because I did not swing well on the day at all. Some horrendous shots, and especially when the wind picked up as well, which were, that 188 carry I had, total distance 201 yards, that really did stop that ball, because I wanted to show the forgiveness in this club. But really, a lot of the average ones, when I was, got all the bad shots out, were 217 yards total distance, 217 yards, 224 yards, 218. They were close to that 220 mark. So I had some really good distance in there, to be fair. And the ball speed was good as well. So yeah, so even though the average was 213, I think actually if I was, having a better day at the range, probably would have been close to that 220 mark, which would have been definitely higher than my sort of average 3 hybrid, my QI 10, which by the way, for distance, I gave a 4 out of 5. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. I would expect it to be a little bit longer than this because of the size of it. Now let's get into the ACS Golf scale. So we got 5 categories. We've got distance, feel, looks, price, and forgiveness. Now, first things first, let's talk about distance. So yeah, 226 into wind, cannot complain about. But I've struggled with distance because lots of reviews I've read about this club, as I always do whenever I do a review for you guys, I always get a background check on it. I do that research just to check on them myself, and and then I give you my opinion as well. Obviously, which is this video. And a lot of them are saying it's, it's really long, and it is as you'd expect. It's in between that 3, hybrid and a fairway wood for distance. But then I've read a few where they've gone, well, my hybrid is actually relatively the same distance. There's not a huge, big difference between this and my hybrid. So I think it does range. And I'm going to, because it is in the hybrid category, by the way, I am going to put it in a 5 out of 5, because I definitely think it's definitely going to be one of the longest sort of hybrids out there. It really is, because of the bigger size of it. But I do think there's probably 1 or 2 hybrids out there, some low spin monsters, that probably maybe longer than this. So do be aware of that. And also remember, length isn't always the way. Sometimes you want that gapping. So for me, if I was hitting this 220 yards, not the end of the world, but maybe that gap's just a little bit more than my 4-iron, which normally go around 200, maybe 205. So yeah, not the end of the world, to be fair. So I'm giving it 5 out of 5, but then I know I can get that QI 10 to 220 if I need to. So I am giving it 5 out of 5, but potentially maybe I should have given it a 4.5 out of 5. I think I'll let you guys decide if it should be a 4.5 or a 5. So let me know in the comments down below if you've used one of these, and if you have, what do you think the distance is? At the moment, I'm giving it a 5, but potentially maybe I should have given it 4.5 out of 5, which I have been umming and ahhing about, to be honest. But there you go. Basically, it's got really good distance. So there you go. It has got good distance, as you'd expect. Plenty long enough for anyone. and consistent, which is really good. Unless you're putting horrendous shots on it, which is down to me and not the club. Anyway, onto feel. Feels really nice off the face. Generally knew where my miss hits were as well, so really pleased with that. So I'm giving it 4 out of 5. Very solid. Onto looks, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. I think it looks really smart on the bottom. I like the head cover as well. I just don't like that oversized shape for me. And also I like an alignment aid. There's no alignment aid on this, obviously. It's just, you know, for me, I want to be playing a 3 hybrid, or I want to be looking down at a fairway wood. Something like this, which is a little bit oversized, sort of doesn't really necessarily suit my eye. Even though it is a very smart looking club. So I'm giving it 4 out of 5 just because I don't like this oversized in between a fairway wood or a hybrid. You know, I just want to be seeing a fairway wood or a hybrid, but that is just me. That is just my opinion. Overall, it is a really good looking club. And that's just for the size of it that I've dropped it down to 4 out of 5. Forgiveness wise, 4 out of 5. Now you might be saying, well, hold on, Adam, you know, you just told me that this should be 220. You know, and it's dropped all the way down to 201 or 202, whatever the shortest one was, to 201, which is the shortest one. Why are you giving this 4 out of 5? Because it was the worst hit in the world. It was so poor, and it kept me, well, it would have kept me on the fairway, and that's the important thing. It was consistent with the way it was going. I wasn't losing it right, I wasn't losing it left. You know, like sometimes when you play unforgiving clubs, you just can't control it. You don't know where they're going to go. You know, this did have some good forgiveness in it, and definitely that bigger size. So compared to other hybrids, I'm giving it 4 out of 5. If I was putting in the fairway woods, then, you know, maybe then I might change it. But, you know, for me, it was consistent. I enjoyed it. And there was some really, really bad hits that did pretty well under the circumstances. So, yeah, 4 out of 5. Maybe a lot of you will be watching going, it should be less than that. But believe me, if I can get that distance from such a poor hit, I will take that every day of the week. So yeah, 4 out of 5. Now on to price. Price is a little bit of a difficult one with this because it's a unique thing. You know, it's in the middle. It's not a hybrid, it's not a fairway wood, it's in the middle. So you don't really have too much to compare it against. So at the moment, GolfBiddy, which is a second-hand store in the UK, you can get it for £170, which is around $223. I can imagine it's going to drop even more over the next couple of weeks. You can buy it brand new in the moment in the UK for £199. I think that's a pretty good bargain. US is saying $300 at the moment. I can't find anything cheaper than that, but I'm sure there's a lot more places cheaper than that as the price will drop. eBay, you're looking between sort of 130 up to 160 pounds, so what, $170 up to around $210. But again, that's going to drop. But at the moment, I've given it a 3 out of 5 because I think this is a very, very good club. I think when the price drops, then it will go up a little bit more, but it is quite expensive, as a lot of these things are still for what it is. But yeah, 3 out of 5 for what it is and how unique it is, and the price, which is definitely going to decrease. I'm giving it 3 out of 5. In a couple of months, this could be a 4 out of 5. So there you go. But yeah, really, really cool club. All right, so there you go. There's my review of the Callaway Apex Utility Wood 24. Overall, I think it's a really cool idea. I like it. I think it's got good distance and good forgiveness, but I just personally, I like a hybrid. I like a fairway wood. I don't know how I'd fit this in my bag because, as I mentioned, it's a little bit longer than a hybrid, and it's not going to be as long as my fairway wood. So don't get me wrong, it gives you all the versatility you need, but then I've got the versatility I need in my hybrid. You know, if I need to play a low shot with that, I'd be using my hybrid, you know, so I have that option already there with that. You know, I don't play the biggest game improvement hybrid out there. I just play the standard QI10 Rescue. So the middle of the range gives me that little bit of versatility. So it's a great idea. I know a lot of guys watching this, and ladies as well, will probably love this and want to put it in their bags. They don't want to use fairway woods. But if you're fine with a fairway wood and you've got another club that is relatively the same distance, like a hybrid, 3 hybrid, that's just as versatile as this, then maybe you'd look elsewhere. But overall, I think it's a really good idea. And I think definitely give it a go if you're looking for something that isn't a hybrid and you don't want to do a fairway wood and sort of maybe a 5 wood or 7 wood because you want a little bit more versatility there in that sort of gapping. This could be a great idea for you. All right, guys, now I hope you enjoyed this review of the Callaway Apex Utility Wood. Overall, a fantastic club, as you'd expect from Callaway. Do let me know in the comments down below, have you played a utility wood? Would you play this? If you would, what would you swap out your bag for it? Also, remember to give it a like if you enjoyed this video, and do subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you do not miss out on weekly ACS Golf reviews like this on every Sunday. So, you know, your older clubs, second-hand clubs. And also we do have brand new clubs that come out every now and again on Fridays, and golden oldies and versus videos. You know, we have at least 2 videos that come out a week, so you don't want to miss out on them. All right, guys, I'll see you soon for the next ACS Golf video. See you then. Bye-bye.